The Nexar dreadnought's energy lance cut through 3 Alliance cruisers like a plasma torch through hull plating. Emergency beacons flashed silently in the void, marking the graves of 5,000 crew members. On the bridge of the Alliance command ship Stellar Dawn, High Admiral Zextal's facial membranes paled to an ashen gray as he watched his fleet's formation crumble. Defensive Pattern 7 has failed, High Admiral, his second-in-command reported, multiple eyes blinking in rapid succession. The Nexar have adapted to our shield frequencies again. Zextal's tendrils curled in frustration. The Alliance's most advanced warships, products of 12 species combined technological achievement, were being systematically dismantled by the Nexar's superior combat algorithms. Their enemy had predicted every move, countered every strategy, and broken through every defense. Multiple hostile signatures approaching from Vector 227, the sensor officer announced. They're deploying their reserve fleet. A ripple of despair swept through the command bridge. The reserve fleet's arrival meant only one thing. The Nexar were moving to end this battle decisively. The Arcturus sector, with its rich resources and strategic position, would fall within the hour. Then something unexpected happened. New contact. The sensor officer's voice cracked with surprise. Single vessel emerging from unregistered FTL vector. The main display shifted, showing a ship unlike anything in Alliance or Nexar databases. Its hull was angular, lacking the smooth curves of Alliance design or the crystalline geometry of Nexar architecture. The vessel's size was unremarkable, barely a quarter the length of a Nexar dreadnought, but its hull bristled with what appeared to be primitive ballistic weapon systems and thick armor plating. Energy signature is unusual, the science officer reported. Detecting active fusion reactions, electromagnetic shielding, and, High Admiral, they're using chemical propulsion for maneuvering. Before Zextal could process this information, a communication request pulsed through their quantum channels. The signal was crude by Alliance standards, using basic electromagnetic waves backed by quantum encryption that seemed almost childishly simple. "This is the HSS Thunderchild," a calm voice transmitted in perfectly translated Galactic standard. "We've detected your battle and are moving to assist. Be advised, we will be engaging hostile forces." The bridge crew exchanged bewildered looks. The ship's designation was unknown, its technology was centuries behind current standards, and its crew was apparently suicidal enough to join a losing battle. "Unknown vessel," Zextal responded. "This is a combat zone. The enemy forces you see have destroyed 300 of our most advanced warships. Your intervention would be..." His words trailed off as the Thunderchild's engines flared brilliant blue. The vessel accelerated at speeds that seemed impossible for its primitive propulsion, executing a series of maneuvers that defied the usual laws of combat dynamics. "By the eternal void," the tactical officer whispered. "They're moving directly into the Nexar formation." The Nexar response was immediate, a lance of concentrated energy, powerful enough to vaporize an Alliance heavy cruiser, struck the Thunderchild dead center. For a moment, the bridge crew held their breath, expecting to witness another brave ship's destruction. Instead, they'd witnessed a miracle. The energy dispersed across the ship's hull, absorbed by what appeared to be layers of ablative armor and electromagnetic shielding. The Thunderchild emerged from the attack scared but intact, its primitive-looking weapon systems swiveling to target the nearest Nexar vessel. "Heavy kinetic weapons detected," the sensor officer shouted. "They're using projectiles." The space between ships lit up as the Thunderchild opened fire. Hypervelocity rounds, accelerated to frightening speeds, crossed the battlefield faster than the Nexar's energy shields could adapt. The first salvo struck home, tearing through the sophisticated defenses designed to stop energy weapons and quantum torpedoes. For the first time in the battle, a Nexar ship exploded. High Admiral Zextal's tendrils straightened with sudden hope as he watched the unknown vessel. This human warship, begin its dance of destruction. Perhaps the Arcturus sector would not fall today after all. The real battle was about to begin. Captain Alexandra Alex Mitchell stood at the center of the Thunderchild's command bridge, her weathered hands gripping the tactical rail as holographic displays flickered with enemy positions. The bridge hummed with controlled tension. No chatter, no wasted motion, just the quiet efficiency of a crew who had trained together through countless simulations and battles in Earth's orbital defense force. Multiple targeting solutions, Captain Lieutenant Sarah Hayes reported from the weapons station, her fingers dancing across haptic controls. Their shields are adapting, but our tungsten penetrators are still getting through. Mitchell nodded, her eyes fixed on the tactical display where red dots representing Nexar vessels swarmed like angry hornets. The Alliance ships, marked in blue, were regrouping behind the Thunderchild's unexpected assault. Time to get their attention. Broadcast on all frequencies, Lieutenant Rodriguez. Channel open, Captain. Nexar forces, this is Captain Alexandra Mitchell of the human starship Thunderchild. Her voice carried the calm authority of someone who had faced death too many times to fear it. Your attack on this sector ends today. Withdraw your forces, or we will be forced to demonstrate humanity's full combat capabilities. The response came in the form of concentrated fire as 3 Nexar destroyers broke formation to target the Thunderchild. Energy beams and quantum torpedoes streaked across space, their combined power enough to shatter a small moon. Incoming fire. The tactical officer's voice rose above the alert klaxons. Multiple vector attack. Mitchell's lips curved into a slight smile. Just as expected. Execute maneuver pattern Delta 7. Show them what Earth's best can do. The Thunderchild's engines roared to life, the fusion drives pushing the ship into a series of movements that defied conventional space combat doctrine. While alien vessels relied on predictable, computer-optimized patterns, the human warship moved like a boxer in zero gravity, each dodge flowing into a counterpunch. Their targeting systems can't get a lock. Hayes called out, excitement breaking through her professional demeanor. The random pattern is working. The bridge shook as several glancing blows struck their armor. Damage reports scrolled across secondary screens, but the Thunderchild's layered defenses held firm. This was what the ship had been built for, taking hits that would vaporize other vessels and staying in the fight. Engineering reports all systems nominal. Chief Engineer Marcus Walker's voice crackled through the comm. Those hybrid shields you designed are holding better than expected, Captain. We're bleeding off the energy into our capacitors. Mitchell allowed herself a moment of pride. The shield design had been her doctoral thesis project, a combination of electromagnetic fields and plasma containment that could absorb enemy fire and repurpose it. The Nexar were about to learn that humanity's primitive technology had a few surprises. Alliance command ship is hailing us, Rodriguez reported. Put them through, but keep it brief. We're a little busy. High Admiral Zextel's image appeared on the command screen, his alien features showing what Mitchell interpreted as a mix of confusion and hope. Captain Mitchell, your ship's combat performance is unprecedented. We've never seen anything survive such concentrated fire. That's because you haven't met humans before, Admiral, Mitchell replied, bracing herself as another volley rocked the ship. We built the Thunderchild to take everything an enemy can throw at us and keep fighting. Now, if you'll excuse me. She cut the transmission as 4 more Nexar vessels moved to engage. The enemy was adapting, trying to find patterns in the Thunderchild's seemingly chaotic movements. But that was the beauty of human combat doctrine. There were no patterns to find. All batteries, target the lead vessel, Mitchell commanded, her voice carrying the weight of Earth's martial heritage. Show them why humanity never lost a war on our home planet. Fire everything. The Thunderchild's main gun spoke in thunder, launching a barrage of hypervelocity rounds that crossed the void in seconds. The Nexar flagship's shields, designed to handle energy weapons, Might as well have been tissue paper against kinetic penetrators moving at appreciable fractions of light speed. The enemy vessel cracked like an egg, its crystalline hull shattering into 1,000 glittering fragments. In the silence that followed, both Alliance and Nexer forces witnessed something unprecedented, the beginning of humanity's entry onto the galactic stage. And it would be an entrance they would never forget. The battlefield had become a symphony of chaos as the Thunderchild wove through debris fields of its own making. 3 more Nexer vessels had fallen to its guns, their crystalline wreckage creating an impromptu asteroid field that Captain Mitchell was using to devastating effect. "They're still trying to predict our movement patterns," Lieutenant Hayes reported from Tactical, her fingers flying across the haptic controls. "Their combat AI keeps targeting where we should be." Mitchell smiled as she watched the enemy's precision-guided energy beams slash through empty space. That's their weakness. They think combat is mathematics, a problem to be solved. Show them why human unpredictability is our greatest weapon. The Thunderchild's maneuvering thrusters fired in seemingly random sequences, each burst calculated not by computer, but by the intuition of Flight Officer James Cooper. His hands danced across the neural-linked flight controls, decades of atmospheric flight experience translating seamlessly to 3-dimensional space combat. Reading multiple jump signatures, the sensor officer's voice cut through the controlled chaos of the bridge. "They're bringing in heavy support." 5 Nexer dreadnoughts materialized from hyperspace, their massive forms bristling with weapons. Each one dwarfed the Thunderchild, their hulls gleaming with energy shields that rippled like oil on water. "Now that's just showing off," Cooper muttered, already plotting evasive patterns in his head. Mitchell's expression hardened. "They're learning. Those dreadnoughts are positioned to cut off our escape vectors." She tapped her command console, bringing up the Alliance fleet's positions. "Time to show them some old Earth tactics." Lieutenant Rodriguez, open a channel to the Alliance command. High Admiral Zextel's image appeared, his facial membranes now a deeper shade of determination. "Captain Mitchell, we see the reinforcements. Our analysis shows a 97% probability of." "Forget the numbers, Admiral," Mitchell interrupted, her voice carrying the weight of centuries of human warfare. "What we need right now is the naval equivalent of a cavalry charge. Have your fastest ships ready to strike on my mark." The Alliance commander's multiple eyes blinked in confusion, but their formation is impenetrable. The energy output alone. That's what they want you to think. Mitchell's fingers traced a path through the holographic display. "Every perfect defense has a flaw, and I'm looking right at it. They're too perfect, too ordered. Trust me." Without waiting for a response, Mitchell turned to her crew. "All hands, prepare for combat maneuver Sierra 9. Engineering, I need everything you can give the forward shields." Chief Engineer Walker's voice crackled through the comm. "You're not thinking what I think you're thinking, are you, Captain? The old Hedgehog defense, Marcus, just like we practiced." A low whistle came through the channel. "Those simulations nearly broke the ship, Alex. Then it's a good thing this isn't a simulation." Mitchell's voice carried that dangerous edge her crew had learned to recognize. "Weapon control. Load the special package in all forward tubes." Hayes' eyes widened. "The magnetic chaff. Captain, that's experimental tech. And this is the perfect time to experiment. Battlefields are where humans do their best innovation." Mitchell opened a shipwide channel. "All hands, brace for impact. We're about to show these aliens why Earth's military history books are written in blood and victory." The Thunderchild's engines flared blue-white as Cooper executed a maneuver that made the artificial gravity struggle to compensate. The human warship charged directly at the center of the Nexer formation, its trajectory a perfect line that seemed to confirm every alien prediction about primitive human tactics. The Nexer dreadnoughts responded exactly as expected, their weapons charging in perfect synchronization, ready to vaporize the foolish human vessel that dared to challenge their superiority. That was their final mistake. Now, Mitchell's command rang through the bridge. Release the chaff and execute the hedgehog. What happened next would be studied in military academies across the galaxy for centuries to come. The perfect order of space combat was about to meet the beautiful chaos of human warfare, and the universe would never be the same. The aftermath of the hedgehog maneuver had left the Alliance engineers speechless. Scattered debris from 3 Nexer dreadnoughts drifted through space like metallic snow, while the remaining 2 had retreated to a safe distance, their perfect formations shattered by the unexpected devastation of human combat doctrine. Chief Engineer Marcus Walker led the Alliance technical team through the Thunderchild's main engineering bay, their alien eyes wide as they took in the controlled chaos of human engineering. Emergency repair crews worked with practiced efficiency, patching damaged systems with a combination of advanced materials and what looked like improvised solutions. Your power core is remarkable, Senior Engineer Vectrol said, his sensor appendages waving in fascination as they observed the ship's beating heart. We detected fusion reactions, but this design is unlike anything in our database. Walker patted the massive reactor housing with pride. That's because we stopped trying to make fusion clean and instead made it combat effective. Every component is designed to keep working, even when half destroyed. The Alliance engineers exchanged troubled looks as they recorded the readings. The human approach to engineering violated dozens of their safety protocols, yet the results were undeniable. The Thunderchild's reactor had taken damage that would have triggered an automatic shutdown in their vessels, yet it continued to function at near-peak efficiency. But the radiation levels, Vectrol began, are contained by these beauties, Walker interrupted, pointing to a series of nested magnetic fields visible through the monitoring stations. Layered containment systems. If one falls, another takes the load. We call it the Onion Protocol. Makes our engineers cry just as much. Captain Mitchell entered the engineering bay, her uniform showing scorch marks from where she'd helped extinguish an electrical fire during the battle. How are our guests finding our primitive technology, Chief? They're having a hard time processing our design philosophy, Captain Walker grinned. Especially the redundancy systems. Mitchell nodded, turning to the Alliance team. On Earth, we learned early that any system can fail, so we built everything to work even when it's broken. She gestured to a nearby console displaying the ship's damage control systems. Every critical component has at least 3 backups, each using different operating principles. Vectrol's sensor clusters pulsed with interest as he studied the display. But this defies all logical design parameters. Your secondary systems are less efficient than primary ones, and the tertiary systems are practically ancient. Exactly, Mitchell's eyes gleamed. When our quantum circuits fail, we switch to regular electronics. When those go down, we can run things mechanically. The Nexer can't adapt to our systems because we're already adapted to failure. The tour continued through the weapons systems, where the Alliance engineers discovered another revelation. The Thunderchild's main guns weren't the energy weapons they had assumed, but rather magnetically accelerated mass drivers that could be powered by the ship's reactor, emergency batteries, or even a hand-crank generator in extreme circumstances. Your entire ship is built like a survival shelter, Vectrol observed, his voice mixing awe with concern. As if you expected to fight alone, without support or resupply. Walker and Mitchell shared a knowing look. That's because we did, the captain replied. Humanity reached the stars knowing we might find friends or enemies. We built our ships to handle either scenario. A junior Alliance engineer who had been quiet until now spoke up. These design principles, they could revolutionize our entire fleet. The Nexer's strategic advantage has always been their ability to disable our advanced systems. Mitchell's expression turned serious. That's why we're here. The Thunderchild isn't just a warship. She's a proof of concept. Humanity is ready to share our technology, our experience, and our understanding of combat engineering. The ship's internal comm system crackled to life. Captain to the bridge. Long-range sensors are detecting multiple signatures. The Nexer are regrouping. Looks like class is over, Mitchell announced, already moving toward the exit. Time to give your engineers a live demonstration of human combat engineering under fire. Chief Walker, show them how we handle emergency repairs mid-battle. As warning klaxons began to sound, Vectrol and his team realized they were about to witness something unprecedented, how humanity's primitive technology could adapt and overcome in ways their advanced systems never could. The real education was about to begin. The Nexer counterattack began with silence. One moment, the Alliance fleet was moving into formation alongside the Thunderchild. The next, their ships began drifting aimlessly in space, their crews frozen in the grip of an invisible force. Alliance vessels are not responding to communications, Lieutenant Rodriguez reported, her fingers dancing across the comm panel. Their power signatures are active but, Captain, something's wrong. Captain Mitchell watched the main display as ship after ship went dark, their crews falling victim to whatever weapon the Nexer had unleashed. On the tactical overlay, High Admiral Zextel's command ship listed to port, its defensive systems offline. Their quantum communications are being flooded with some kind of signal, Hayes announced from her station. It's unlike anything in our database. The first officer, Commander David Reynolds, gripped his console as understanding dawned. They're using psychic warfare. The Alliance briefing mentioned the Nexer had been developing neural disruption technology. Mitchell's expression hardened, and they think it will work on us. Lieutenant Hayes, full scan of the enemy fleet. Find me the source of that signal. Before Hayes could respond, a wave of pressure swept through the bridge. Several crew members winced, but their training held. The Nexer's psychic assault, designed to incapacitate the highly ordered neural patterns of Alliance species, found something very different in the human minds it encountered. Is that the best they can do? Cooper laughed from the helm, his hand steady on the controls. I've had worse hangovers. Mitchell allowed herself a grim smile. Humanity's greatest defense. Our minds are already chaos. Rodriguez, ship-wide communication. Channel open. Captain. All hands, this is your captain. The enemy is attempting psychic warfare. Focus on your training. Remember the meditation techniques. Let your thoughts flow like water. They can't grasp what won't hold still. The response was immediate. Across the Thunderchild, human minds shifted into the state they'd practiced countless times. Earth's first encounters with psychic phenomena had led to the development of mental disciplines that turned the human brain's natural chaos into an active defense. Signal source located. Hayes called out triumphantly. 3 Nexer heavy cruisers at bearing 047. They're using some kind of amplification array. Perfect. Mitchell's voice carried the weight of certainty. Mr. Cooper, bring us about. Engineering. Divert power to the forward shield matrix. We're going to show them why you don't try to hack a human brain. The Thunderchild's engines flared to life, pushing the warship through a series of maneuvers that would have incapacitated most crews, even without psychic interference. As they closed on the Nexer cruisers, the enemy's mental assault intensified. Warning lights flashed across every console as the ship's sensors detected the increasing psychic pressure. But where Alliance crews had fallen into catatonia, the humans of the Thunderchild pushed back. They're trying to adapt the signal, Reynolds reported, his voice tight with concentration. But our neural patterns keep shifting. The more they try to lock on, the more random our thoughts become. Mitchell keyed a command into her console. Time to return the favor. Deploy the resonance projectors. Chief Walker's voice came through the comm, strained but determined. Projectors online, Captain. Ready to give these telepathic Terrans the worst migraine of their lives. Fire. The Thunderchild's hull hummed as specially designed transmitters activated, broadcasting the combined neural chaos of 300 human minds directly at the Nexer ships. The effect was devastating. The enemy vessels' perfectly ordered systems began to falter as their crews experienced true human consciousness for the first time. "Their shields are failing," Hayes shouted in triumph. "The psychic feedback is disrupting their entire network." Mitchell's voice cut through the chaos. "All batteries, target those cruisers. Show them what happens when they try to outthink the species that invented psychological warfare." The Thunderchild's guns roared to life, sending hypervelocity rounds through the gaps in the enemy's destabilized shields. One by one, the Nexer cruisers erupted in silent explosions, their psychic attack dying with them. Across the battlefield, Alliance ships began to recover as the mental assault faded. On their bridges, alien crews watched in amazement as the human vessel stood triumphant among the wreckage of their supposedly superior enemy. "Open a channel to the Alliance fleet," Mitchell ordered, her voice carrying the pride of her entire species. "Tell them the human mind just became their greatest weapon in this war." The Stellar Dawn's conference chamber had never seen such a gathering. High Admiral Zextal sat at the head of the crystalline table, surrounded by representatives from 12 Alliance species. Across from them, Captain Mitchell and Commander Reynolds represented humanity, their battle-worn uniforms standing in stark contrast to the ornate diplomatic attire of their hosts. "Your victory against the psychic attack was unprecedented." The Alliance chief scientist, Dr. Velmar, spoke first. His spiral pattern eyes focused intently on the human officers. "But what truly interests us is how your species achieved such rapid development." Mitchell placed a small holographic projector on the table. A three-dimensional image of Earth appeared, showing the planet's history in accelerated time. "Necessity," she said simply. "Earth was never a peaceful world." The projection showed cities rising and falling, nations forming and dissolving, technology advancing in great leaps during times of conflict. The Alliance representatives watched in fascination as humanity's timeline unfolded at a pace that defied their understanding of societal development. "Impossible," a crystalline beam chimed from its hover platform. "Your species went from atmospheric flight to faster-than-light travel in less than 2 centuries. Reynolds smiled. "The discovery was actually an accident. We were trying to solve our energy crisis, testing new fusion containment systems. One of our research teams found the spacefold principle while looking for something else entirely." "Classic human innovation," Mitchell added. "We're very good at finding unexpected solutions to immediate problems." The Thunderchild itself was built using technology we developed to clean up orbital debris. The hologram shifted to show the construction of the first human warship. Alliance engineers leaned forward, their various sensory organs fixed on the seemingly backward construction methods that had produced such a formidable vessel. "Your ship's design," Velmar hesitated. "It appears to violate several universal constants we thought were immutable." "That's because we never learned they were immutable," Mitchell explained. "Earth scientists had to work with what we had. When something didn't work, we tried another approach. Our technology evolved like we did, adapting to survive." High Admiral Zextal's facial membranes rippled with concern. "Yet you come to us with peace despite your warrior heritage. Why?" The room fell silent as Mitchell stood, her presence commanding attention without effort. "Because we learned the hard way that victory without purpose is meaningless. Earth united not through conquest, but through the recognition that we're stronger together. We're offering the Alliance the same choice." She gestured to the hologram, which now showed Earth's unified space fleet. "We have more ships being built, cruise training, technologies being developed, but we don't want to just fight your wars. We want to help you win them, and then help build something better." The Alliance representatives conferred among themselves, their various communication methods creating a symphony of clicks, whistles, and electromagnetic pulses. Finally, Zextal raised a hand for silence. "Your offer is unprecedented," he stated. No species has ever joined the Alliance with such advanced military technology, while being so limited in other areas. Those limitations are exactly why you need us, Reynolds interjected. We see solutions where you see impossibilities. We find strength in chaos where you seek order. Together, we could be unstoppable. A new alert flashed across the chamber's information screens. Long-range sensors had detected more Nexar ships gathering at the edge of the sector. The enemy wasn't finished. They were regrouping for another assault. Mitchell's expression hardened as she studied the data. We don't have much time. The Nexar will have analyzed their defeats, adapted their strategies. They'll come back stronger. Then perhaps, Zextel's voice carried new resolve. It is time for the Alliance to adapt as well. Captain Mitchell, how quickly can Earth begin sharing its military technology? A predatory smile crossed Mitchell's face. Admiral, we've been ready since we arrived. The real question is, are you ready to learn how humans fight? The galaxy was about to learn that humanity's greatest gift wasn't their technology or their tactics. It was their ability to take the impossible and make it reality. The age of human innovation in warfare had begun. The Nexar Armada emerged from hyperspace like an avalanche of crystal and light. 500 warships, their hulls gleaming with enhanced energy shields, dropped into normal space in attack formation. At their center, a massive flagship dwarfed even their largest dreadnoughts, its surface bristling with weapons designed specifically to counter the Thunderchild's capabilities. Well, that's flattering, Captain Mitchell observed from her command chair, now streaked with carbon scoring from recent battles. They built a ship just for us. The bridge crew of the Thunderchild worked with practiced efficiency, their stations illuminated by the red glow of combat lighting. The ship's hull bore fresh scars from the previous engagements, hastily patched with a combination of Alliance technology and human ingenuity. Alliance fleet is in position, Lieutenant Rodriguez reported. High Admiral Zextel requests your strategy, Captain. Mitchell's eyes narrowed as she studied the tactical display. The Nexar formation was perfect, too perfect. Their algorithms had adapted to human unpredictability by creating a defense grid that could respond to any rational approach vector. Good thing we're not going to be rational. She opened a channel to engineering. Chief Walker, remember that crazy idea you had about the fusion core? Walker's voice came back strained but eager. The one that would probably get us all court-martialed back home. Been working on it since our last fight, Captain. How long to implement? Give me 5 minutes and a prayer. Mitchell's smile was wolf-like. You've got 2 minutes and my complete confidence. Bridge crew, battle stations. Lieutenant Hayes, begin Operation Thunderstruck. Warning klaxons blared as the Thunderchild systems began powering up in ways their designers had never intended. The Alliance fleet watched in confusion as the human warship's energy signature started fluctuating wildly. Captain, Commander Reynolds spoke from his station. The Nexar are broadcasting a message. They're offering terms. Let's hear it. A cold, synthetic voice filled the bridge. Human vessel, you have demonstrated sufficient capability to merit attention. Surrender now, and your technological innovations will be preserved for study. Resist, and you will be eliminated. Mitchell's response was quick and clear. Here's a counteroffer. Leave this sector, or learn why Earth's history books are written by the winners. She closed the channel before they could respond. All hands, this is your captain. What we're about to try has never been done before. Then again, that's what humans do best. Trust your training, trust each other, and show these aliens why you never corner a species that turned their own planet into a training ground. The Thunderchild's engines began to glow with unnatural intensity as Walker's modifications took effect. The fusion core's containment fields pulsed with barely controlled power, pushing the ship's systems far beyond their designed limits. Engineering reports ready, Hayes announced, her voice tight with anticipation. Alliance ships are standing by. Mitchell took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. Mr. Cooper, plot an intercept course straight through their center mass. Let's give them something their computers can't possibly predict. The helmsman's hands flew across his controls. Course plotted, Captain. They're going to think we're insane. That's the idea. Mitchell opened a channel to the Alliance fleet. Admiral Zextal, when you see our signal, hit them with everything you've got. And whatever happens, remember, this is how humans fight. The Thunderchild's hull groaned as its systems pushed to breaking point. The Nexer fleet responded to their approach exactly as predicted, their weapons charging in perfect synchronization to obliterate the seemingly suicidal human vessel. All power to forward systems, Mitchell commanded. Prepare the modified shield harmonics. Show them why you never try to outcalculate a species that treats physics like guidelines rather than laws. What happened next would become legend. The Thunderchild didn't just break the rules of space combat. It rewrote them. As the ship accelerated toward the heart of the enemy fleet, it carried with it humanity's greatest weapon, the ability to turn certain defeat into impossible victory. The final battle for the Arcturus sector was about to begin, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Thunderchild emerged from the explosion like a phoenix born of nuclear fire. Behind it, the massive Nexer flagship split apart, its perfect crystalline structure unable to handle the raw chaos of Walker's modified fusion burst. The human warship's hull glowed cherry red, its armor barely holding together after the unprecedented maneuver. Damage report. Mitchell's voice cut through the smoke filling the bridge, her uniform singed, but her resolve unshaken. Hull integrity at 27%. Hayes responded, coughing. Primary systems are failing, but the secondaries are holding. Somehow. Commander Reynolds wiped blood from a cut above his eye. The Nexer fleet is in disarray. Their command and control network went down when their flagship fractured. They've lost their hive mind coordination. Mitchell pulled herself back into her command chair, watching as the Alliance fleet pressed their advantage. The Nexer ships, designed to function as part of a perfect whole, now moved like wounded animals, their actions uncoordinated and desperate. Engineering. Status of our little science experiment. Walker's voice came through broken and static-filled. The core is stable, Captain. Well, as stable as an intentionally destabilized fusion reactor can be, but we won't be able to pull that trick again. We literally rewrote the laws of physics in our local space-time. Once was enough. Mitchell allowed herself a grim smile. We just showed the galaxy why you never bet against human innovation. The main display flickered to life, showing the aftermath of their desperate gambit. The Nexer formation had completely collapsed. Some ships retreated in chaos, while others fought individually, their perfect tactics replaced by primitive survival instincts. High Admiral Zextal's voice crackled through the comm. Captain Mitchell, your ship just violated 17 known laws of physics. The energy reading from that explosion, it should have been impossible. That's the thing about humans. Admiral, Mitchell replied, watching as more Nexer vessels began emergency jumps to hyperspace. We don't pay much attention to impossible when our backs are against the wall. The remaining bridge displays showed Alliance vessels moving to secure the sector. The battle for Arcturus was effectively over. The Nexer's perfect strategy had shattered against the rock of human unpredictability and desperate innovation. Message coming in from Earth Command, Rodriguez announced. They've received our battle reports. The Council. They're authorizing full production of the Thunderchild-class vessels. We're being promoted to a training ship. A cheer went up from the crew. Their mission had been more than just survival. It had been a proof of concept. Humanity's approach to warfare, their unique blend of innovation and controlled chaos, would now be shared across the Alliance. Admiral, Mitchell opened a channel to the Stellar Dawn. I think it's time we discussed the future. Earth is ready to begin full integration with the Alliance, but we'll need to make some changes to standard combat doctrine. The Alliance commander's response carried a new tone of respect. After what we've witnessed, Captain, I believe the Alliance is ready to learn. Your species has shown us that perfect order can be defeated by perfect chaos. The galaxy will never be the same. As the Thunderchild limped toward the Alliance repair yards, Mitchell looked at her crew. Engineers jury-rigging repairs, tactical officers adapting Alliance technology to human needs, and every single person showing the indomitable spirit that had brought humanity to the stars. Send a message to Earth Command, she ordered. Tell them. The human age has begun. Send more ships. The stars seemed brighter somehow as the battered warship moved through space. The Nexar had learned a costly lesson. Humanity didn't just break the rules of combat. They rewrote them. Their primitive technology, combined with their unique way of thinking, had changed the face of galactic warfare forever. In the years to come, the story of the Thunderchild would be told in military academies across 1,000 worlds. But more importantly, it would be whispered in fear among humanity's enemies, a reminder that sometimes the most dangerous species are those who never learned what couldn't be done. The galaxy had changed, and humanity was just getting started.